First at noon, new video from a witness near a two-alarm fire that broke out in Aina Haina early this morning. You can see that thick smoke rising from the trees and the glow of the nearby flames. We're following this developing story of a home that collapsed near the site of the blaze. Casey Lund has the latest.
Aloha from Lave Street, not too far up from Kunia and Ole Highway, and not too far from the Honolulu Fire Department's station here in Aina Haina. I want to show you some of the damage. This all started around 4:40 this morning. Cause under investigation still, but you can see how it tore through this initial building. It collapsed. Those flames also impacted the neighboring structure. We talked to Captain Dean Baldiviso with the Honolulu Fire Department about how important it is for that response time and when minutes really matter.
Yes, it does. It does. And then again, 911 notification is the key thing. The earlier you can call, the smaller the fire is when we get there, and we'll get there as soon as we can. But
we talked to neighbors here on Lave Street who say they're grateful for the Honolulu Fire Department. Their quick action. Again, they were very close, but they got here within minutes. We're able to get this under control. But that neighboring structure really sustained a lot of damage. I also talked to a neighbor just a few houses down, Lance Luke, about what he saw early this morning.
I heard what sounded like gunshots, and from my observation, looked like the house had painters living there, and paint materials and cans were stored, so pretty sure that the explosions I heard that I thought were gunshots were actually paint cans exploding. I
had talked to several neighbors here on Lave Street who didn't want to go on camera but expressed their deep gratitude to the Honolulu Fire Department. Things could have been much worse here. We'll keep you updated as we learn more about this fire. We'll send things back into the studio for now.
Thank you, Case. And an arson investigation has been launched after a fire in Kaneohe. HFD has officially ruled the cause of the blaze as incendiary. Investigators say an accelerant detective canine found multiple spots with ignitable liquids near the front door. Firefighters were first called to Kahuhipa Street at around 11 last night, where they saw smoke coming from the building and located the blaze inside. They got the flames out in just a few minutes. It caused an estimated $50,000 in damages. An intentionally set fire that burned more than 250 acres along Kunia Road is now listed as a closed incident. The Honolulu Fire Department had last reported the fire was 90% contained on Monday. That's also when they declared it was started on purpose. Now, it was first reported near agricultural lands on August 19th. We have asked for clarification if the closed incident designation means that the fire is out. Meanwhile, we're learning more about the man accused of starting one of the 8 fires in Kunia over the past few weeks. He appears to have a troubled history with his ex-bosses. 70-year-old Antonio Vieira was charged with arson in the 2nd degree for allegedly igniting a blaze on Saturday. Police first arrested him on Saturday after his truck was spotted for the 2nd time in a week near a brush fire. Vieira also filed wrongful termination lawsuits against 2 condos where he did maintenance work. Last year, Vieira was let go from the Kunia apartment building in Waikiki. He claims management there ignored his reports of illegal activity, such as gambling among workers. But residents there have their own allegations against Vieira.
Antonio Vieira is a disgusting individual.
He's just a total scumbag.
He completely destroyed our public restrooms on our rooftop. Badly. Retaliation, possibly.
A lot of us believe that when last December he sabotaged our elevators.
The elevators went down. It's just a lot of things. It's too much of a coincidence. As soon as he's gone, all of a sudden there's nothing breaking down the way it was while he was here.
In a lawsuit against another former employer, Cambridge Management, Vieira claimed he was told to lie to residents about incomplete work orders and that his reports were ignored by a manager before he was let go. Cambridge and Kunia denied all of Vieira's accusations. Vieira has settlement conferences for his lawsuits scheduled for October and February. New details today about the horrific mass shooting at a Minneapolis Catholic school. Police are still looking for a motive behind the attack that left 2 children dead and injured 18 other people. Nadia Cavazos is in Minneapolis with the details.
A memorial is growing outside Annunciation Catholic Church. Mourners coming to pray for the victims of Wednesday's attack.
It was like a big firework.
9-year-old June, Holene, and her younger sister Olive were both in the church when the shooting started.
My teacher just jumped on the floor and she kind of like motioned like for me to get down. And so then me and my buddy just followed her. And then she kind of grabbed my hand a little bit.
Video provided to CBS News by a parent shows a panicked escape. 2 children, ages 8 and 10, were killed. 15 children and 3 adults were injured.
And one of the children were very scared.
Doctors at one Minnesota hospital spoke about treating some of the patients. One girl needed a CT scan, and a nurse stayed with her despite the radiation risk.
She put a little lead on and stayed there and held her hand and held her hair while she went through the scanner so she didn't have to go through it alone.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry stood with the group Moms Demand Action to call for a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
Of course, we're standing up with thoughts and with prayers, but thoughts and prayers are not going to cut it.
Investigators are still parsing through all the evidence.
3 shotgun shells were recovered, along with approximately 116 rifle rounds.
More than anything, the shooter wanted to kill children.
The shooter was a former student at the school. CBS News has learned he visited the church weeks ago to apparently conduct surveillance. Nadia Cavazos, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Here at home, the man accused of shooting and killing Maui police officer Suzanne O has pleaded not guilty to the crime. 38-year-old Clembert Kaneholani is charged with first-degree murder, first-degree attempted murder, and multiple firearms offenses. He allegedly shot O as she and other officers were responding to a terroristic threatening call in Paia on August 15th. But despite body camera video and multiple witnesses, legal experts say the case is complicated and prosecutors have the burden to prove Kaneholani opened fire with the intent to kill.
They don't need to just prove the conduct, which is obvious. One of the elements that they need to prove is something called state of mind. And in this case, for the murder in the first degree, for example, they would need to prove that the conduct was intentional and knowing. And not only does that have to be proved, it has to be proved to the level of something called beyond a reasonable doubt. It's an evidentiary standard that's required, and that is a very high standard to prove.
A pre-trial conference is set for October, and a jury trial is slated for February. A memorial service for Officer O will be held tomorrow morning. Former Honolulu police officer Mason Jordan has been sentenced to 23 years in federal prison. He pleaded guilty last year to 4 counts of child sexual exploitation, enticement, and interstate domestic violence. Prosecutors say he posed as a pimp for underage girls and used his position to coerce them into sexual activity. As part of a plea deal, the government dismissed 4 other charges, including sex trafficking. We've learned a homeless man was killed by his own dogs at a Wahiawa property that's been drawing complaints for years. Our chief investigative reporter, Lynn Kawano, shows us what government agencies are doing about the parcel.
Even before this latest incident, council members and state lawmakers were trying to take legal action to demolish the property. Located near a busy intersection, 525 Avocado Street is a visible nuisance.
It's been neglected for years and years. I've lived in Wahiawa for 20-some years, and this has been a constant problem.
The property overlooks Lake Wilson. It has 2 hollowed-out homes and a container on it. All are used by the homeless. This past Sunday night, a man living here was mauled by his 5 dogs. EMS treated and transported him to a hospital, but he died from his injuries. In 2020, police say the building housed a game room. City and state lawmakers are trying to demolish the structures and condemn the property.
This is an eyesore. It's a public safety concern. There's illegal activity, and it's right at the entrance of Wahiawa.
A city council resolution to remove the buildings is moving forward. The state wants to eventually use the property for a DLNR substation along the lake.
Administration has struggled in communicating with the landowner, right? There has been some movement at times, and so I think that's really the concern. that the landowner isn't being responsive enough.
In 2023, we added over $1 million in capital improvement money so we could purchase the property. We were also trying to work with the landowner so that it could be a sale, but they've refused to want to sell it, which is why we're going down the condemnation route.
The listed landowner was arrested during the 2020 game room raid and currently lives in a home in Kalihi Valley. He was not there when we went by.
The demolition of these structures is really the first step in moving forward, and from there we have to work with the state to really activate this property.
The Hawaiian Humane Society took the dogs involved in the fatal attack this week.
The Honolulu Police Department called our teams and asked for assistance. 3 of the dogs, when they were brought into our care, could not be safely handled by our staff, and that posed an immediate public safety risk. So we had to move forward with humane euthanasia. The other 2 are still being evaluated.
The city's resolution is expected to be taken up by the full council next month. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Lynn. Classes are canceled today at Lanai High and Elementary School because of a power outage. Now, it left the school unable to provide meals to students. We're told work is now underway to restore service, but the call was made to close the campus for the day. Again, no school today at Lanai High and Elementary due to a power outage. State health officials are monitoring a wastewater sample that tested positive for the measles. It came from a site in West Hawaii County earlier this month. The presence of the virus in wastewater does not confirm a case or community spread, but signals the DOH to be alert and prepared for any possible measles cases. Hawaii's 2 confirmed measles cases occurred back in April before measles wastewater testing began and are not related to this current wastewater detection.
Aloha on this Thursday. It's going to be absolutely beautiful today. I don't know that we'll see as many rainbows as we normally do because there's not a lot of rain out there. Best chance for rain will come maybe late in the day into the early evening from some afternoon cloud buildups. We'll have lots of sunshine today, and with the wind slowing down, it's going to be a little sticky. But those light winds will also create better surf conditions for south and west shores. There's a swell that's filling in today, going to get bigger tomorrow, and the east shore is running 1 to 3.
The Trump administration fires the CDC director after a standoff with its health chief. I'm Erica Brown with the ouster and growing tensions at the agency.
Also ahead on This Is Now, a court ruling highlights the risk of seed research and the state's failure to protect a Kauai coastline. We'll be right back. major shakeup at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. The Trump administration has fired the agency's director after less than a month on the job, and other top officials have resigned. It was just announced Jim O'Neill, a top deputy to Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., will serve as acting CDC director. Erica Brown has more from the White House.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is defending the firing of CDC Director Susan Manares.
The president has the authority to fire those who are not aligned with his mission.
CBS News has learned Manares was at odds with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over his COVID vaccine policies. Former acting CDC Director Richard Besser spoke with her.
And she said that there were two things she would never do in the job. One was anything that was deemed illegal. And the second was anything that she felt flew in the face of science. And she said she was asked to do both of those.
Attorneys representing Manares says she was targeted after she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated public health experts. Kennedy blamed the CDC while speaking at a news conference with Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
The CDC is an agency that is very troubled for a very long time, and anybody who lived through the COVID pandemic and saw all of these bizarre recommendations that were not science-based.
4 other top officials at the CDC have also resigned, saying public health is being weaponized.
One of those individuals wrote in his departure statement that he identifies pregnant women as pregnant people. So that's not someone who we want in this administration anyways.
The issues came to the forefront after the FDA updated its COVID vaccine recommendations with new restrictions. The White House says the president will nominate a new CDC director soon. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Here at home, a recent court case could affect any business on state land. Hawaii Supreme Court ruled the DLNR should have conducted an environmental review for a GMO seed farm on Kauai before it started planting on the state property. In 2017, the State Land Board said seed and pesticide research farms didn't have more impact than sugar or pineapple operations, but the High Court said that decision was wrong. It said the Land Board had not analyzed possible environmental impacts of a seed farm in Kekaha that used restricted pesticides and genetically modified organisms.
That was absolutely not considered. This is very close to the ocean, a surf spot. There's a shrimp farm nearby. The drag strip in West Kauai is right there.
I think it sends a message to the community that Hawaii's environmental review laws can't just be sidestepped, which is important.
The court ruled the seed company Syngenta must do an environmental assessment, but that likely won't happen because the company left the property sometime in the last year. Experts say other industries like commercial ocean operators may end up having to do reviews that were not required before. Syngenta's attorney did not respond to our request for comment, while the state declined. And Kauai residents get ready for road closures this Sunday as the Kauai Marathon and Half Marathon hit the streets. The race begins at 6 a.m. near the Poipu Shopping Village. Drivers should expect delays in Koloa, Poipu, Lauai, and Kalaheo from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. For a full list, head to hawaiinewsnow.com. And it looks like there's going to be some great weather this weekend. Guys, going to have our first alert forecast in 2 minutes.
weather with Guy Huggy.
Aloha on this Thursday. We're now 89 days into hurricane season. The peak of hurricane season is right now, but you can see there are no hurricanes or tropical storms or tropical depressions in the Central Pacific. We're looking good right now. Rain-wise, we could use more rain. There's just not a lot out there. These mostly dry conditions are expected to persist through the weekend. So too will these light trade winds. Because the trade winds will run mostly under 15 miles an hour, well, that means it's going to be a little bit sticky out there for the next several days. And also, there's a chance for some afternoon clouds and a few spotty showers. Otherwise, it's going to be fairly dry. So again, it's going to be fairly sunny, fairly dry through the day. Then later in the afternoon, we'll have some cloud buildups around the mountains that could spawn a few spotty showers. Widespread rain just not in the cards. And sunset tonight, 6:50. The days are getting shorter. Surf's getting better. We got a swell that's filling in from the south-southwest. It's not that big yet. The swell will peak tonight. Tomorrow's going to be a better day for surfing. Plus, with the lighter trade winds, conditions will be very good for south and west shores. And it's going to be actually cleaner and smoother on the east shores because of those trade winds backing off. So we got a beautiful run of weather. Granted, the underlying threat is the increased brush fire conditions out there because of the lack of rainfall and the very dry conditions out there. So these winds will run light, even lighter Saturday and Sunday. That means it's going to be a little bit more sticky and humid Saturday and Sunday, and those light trade winds will persist into the middle of next week.
Thank you so much, Guy. Still to come, which stars in the local food industry are being inducted into the Hawaii Restaurant Hall of Fame? Casey Lund is going to have your details in 2 minutes. Time for some good news now, and this is exciting. Some of the biggest names in the local food industry are about to be honored as the Hawaii Restaurant Association celebrates its Hall of Fame this fall. Casey Lund has a preview.
Aloha, very excited for that event coming up on September 29th. You need to get your tickets now if you want to come. A lot of folks being honored, and of course, it's a fundraiser for the Hawaii Restaurant Association's education fund, lifting up some of those really awesome, young, aspiring chefs, culinary artists that make Hawaii such a special place to live and eat. One of my favorite places to eat when I lived on Montserrat Avenue was Diamond Head Market and Grill, the plate lunches, the breakfast. Kelvin Rowe is with us, founder and CEO. And you brought a little something. What do we have here?
That is one of our signature items, blueberry cream cheese scone.
Yeah,
one of your favorites.
That's one of the reasons why my shirts don't fit as well as they used to.
You didn't have to eat both of them.
I'm gonna save this one for Guy Hoggy.
Guy.
I know he knows you, and a lot of people are familiar with your place, but you're being honored, inducted into the Hall of Fame coming up at the end of September for the Founders Award. Tell me a little bit about that and what you know about why you're being honored. You've done some pretty groundbreaking stuff. I'm going to ask you to brag a little bit about yourself.
Oh, come on. I don't even know why they nominated me, but anyway, it's an honor, and it's the Pioneer Award.
Yeah.
I have been very lucky to get a farm in the last couple years, and I can do a complete farm-to-table educational farm experience. My background is in education and food and farming.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity for us to showcase our effort in sustainability here in Hawaii. And we also do the Hawaiian fragrant leis that are becoming obsolete now. You know, the pikake pakalana, puakinakini. Those leis are very hard to find now. And so we're trying to help the cause to revitalize it.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky that we got a very incredible lease from Kamehameha Schools, Bishop Estate, and we have great plans to do aquaponics even, you know, so we don't have to do weeding and we don't have to do fertilizing, and we have big plans for the farm, and you know.
Well, you're gonna have to invite me up there. We'll do
farm to table.
We'll do a live shot up there and show people what you're doing. Kelvin Rowe with us from Diamond Head Market and Grill. Brother, thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations. I'll see you there. I'm emceeing again. That's September 29th at 5 p.m. It's gonna be a good time. Tickets are going quickly. Tables are going quickly. And then you've got Chefs of Aloha, all these people making delicious dishes, and we want to mahalo Rumfire and Waihata, who's sponsoring the Hall of Fame Awards. We'll send things back into the studio for now. Guy, I'm bringing you your scone. We'll see.
It might have a bite in it.
Yeah.
What about my scone case? Cool, thanks. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. This is Now. More news first at 4 right here on KHNL. Aloha.